You're still reaching for the moon. No, Father. The moon's reaching for me. This is Rebooty and the Beast, a podcast in two parts. I'm N. Burke.
And I'm Matthew Molinaro. And in the first episode, we review an original piece of media of some type. And in the subsequent episodes, we will discuss the reboots. And we are here in an OG episode.
Yeah, with a kind of a romance-themed thing for, Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I was actually having a hard time describing the genre when I was talking to Davey about what we were watching this time. I was like, it's February. Let's watch something romantic, we thought. And I was like, is it romantic comedy? I hadn't seen anything about this movie or the reboot. But I saw commercials for the reboot when that was out. So I was like, maybe it's a romantic comedy. I had no idea what to expect. But we're doing Sabrina from 1954.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's a fair assessment that if Richard Gere is in the reboot, it's a rom-com, because can he do anything else?
Well, we need to correct ourselves, because I have some troubling news for you.
Okay.
We've been promoting Sabrina with Richard Gere for weeks, and it's Harrison Ford.
Oh, is it? Are you sure?
I looked it up.
Oh my god, okay.
We watched the trailer for it after we watched Sabrina, just to see what we were in for next time. And those are the words I'm using. And we're like, oh, it's Harrison Ford.
Are you positive?
Look it up.
I am looking at it. Oh my god, that is Harrison Ford.
So, anything, but I think the reboot is more rom-com-y, but we'll see. Maybe this is the version of a rom-com from the 50s,
Oh, I would definitely consider this a rom-com.
Yeah, there were definitely some comedic elements or attempts in it.
Yes.
But not a lot.
No, not many, no.
Not enough.
It was sort of more almost like a slice of life type movie in a way.
Yeah. Trust me, I'll have my thoughts about what the message of this movie is. But Sabrina. So I had never seen it. Had you seen either of these before we got this in our heads?
No, I think I've only seen like one or two Audrey Hepburn films, and this is not one of them.
I don't think I thought I had seen a movie with her in it, and I was like, oh, it'll come to me. I can't think of one, and then I started looking up other movies that she was in, and I don't think this is the only one I've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
Would you, you're not an expert, as you just said, but would you, now having seen this, say that it's pretty on brand or different than her other films?
I think the other one I remember is Breakfast at Tiffany.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that one. I think there was a pretty egregious case of racism in that movie.
Shocking.
I know, right? But I think overall that story was more interesting than this one.
Mm-hmm. I was excited. I didn't even watch a trailer this time. I was enthusiastic. I actually didn't even read the summary from IMDb like I usually did, because I wanted to go in a little bit, since I have no idea what this was. I was like, let me truly go in completely with no clue,
Yeah.
Other than Audrey Hepburn and black and white. So it was totally new for me for sure. Did you have any expectations going in? Any hopes, wishes?
I think I hoped that it would be kind of like endearing and kind of like nostalgic in a way.
Yeah, like that sort of old-timey feel that these give off outside of the social aspects of it, but that sort of the setting and the music and the architecture and, these kind of shots that you see in these classic old movies. That's what I was hoping for. Something to take me away,
Yeah. Do you want to, speaking of the IMDb thing, do you want to tell us what the summary says?
Yes, for sure. And I'm sure a lot of these people in this movie are very famous. I had never heard of anyone in the cast other than the main three, which were Audrey Hepburn, Humphrey Bogart, obviously, and William Holden.
Yeah, those are the only three that I recognized either way.
Yeah, but I had never seen a Humphrey Bogart film. Oh, he's Casablanca, right?
Yes.
Okay, I did see Casablanca. Way long ago. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, the summary for this is, after her return from school in Paris, do you hate me?
Fancy.
A playboy finally takes notice of his family's chauffeur's daughter, who's long had a crush on him, but he questions his more serious brother's motives when he warns against getting involved with her. That's a lot.
Yeah, I also don't know that last part is entirely accurate.
Me neither.
So.
The confusion in this movie at some points, but
yeah.
All right. I'm thrilled to get into this with you.
Did you enjoy the text images that I sent you, the GIFs that I sent you while I was watching it?
I did, and that's why I really cannot wait to just get into it to see, to color in the lines.
I know. When you say get into it, do you actually just mean get through it? Because that's how I felt while I was watching this movie.
It was a challenge. It was like, woohoo! It was a challenge, but yes.
I will also say that part of me when I think about older movies, I'm also like, okay, this is like, even if it isn't good, at least it's going to be short because it's an older movie. And then I saw the runtime was 2 hours and I was like, fuck. And I was watching on a thing with commercials.
Yes.
So.
A lot of commercials.
A lot of commercials. So I felt like I was beholden to this movie for a solid 3 hours.
It was a lot of time on this movie. 100%. And when I watch old movies like this, I'm bracing myself for the racism and the misogyny and the homophobia and all of it. Yeah. So that being said, we'll talk about that throughout, but I was ready for it. It was not a surprise to me or anything. I'm not naive going into these films that I'm going to see something that's going to be like, oh, wow, this really stood out among the rest.
Maybe I missed it, but I don't think there was a single person of color in this movie. And so I don't remember seeing any racism.
Well, therein lies the racism.
Of course. I was like, wow, did they do or say anything that I missed?
Nope. Not in that way. No, definitely not.
Just in the way that they pretended nobody but white people exists.
Exactly. And the way, this just says it all. If you ever wonder how things happened, just take a look at some of the media that was out in the 50s and what was aspirational and what is still like lauded as like classic films of romance to look at.
I do have to say, actually, now that I think about it, I remember there was an Indian woman wearing a sari in the cooking class in Paris. And I was like, oh, right. Wow. I was kind of like surprised that she was there.
I was too. I was paying special attention to see if she would do well in the class too. And I know she didn't do spectacular, but then again, no one did in the class besides like the one old dude. Yeah. But, they were in another country. So I think that was their way of saying we're in another country.
And like an internationally lauded school kind of thing.
Yeah, people come here from more than just America. This is a exotic culinary school. Exotic. Paris.
So we opened with kind of a long monologue about this Long Island estate.
And I liked the beginning. It was like, the over-talking. It sort of sounded... remember when we watched the original Freaky Friday?
Yes, with what's her name?
Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster, thank you.
And she kind of like narrates the begining through her voice, like, I'm just an ordinary kid, whatever. Or in that movie,
do.
I'm just an ordinary child. Just an ordinary youth.
40-year-old man.
Yes.
Yeah, and so we're learning about this big estate, and it's like they have a tree surgeon on retainer. They have a boatman to launch the boats. They have a chauffeur named Fairchild who has a daughter by the name of Sabrina.
They have a man on retainer with no title who tends to a goldfish named George.
Yes, so we're getting a sense of this is a very rich, opulent family.
Yes, the Larrabees.
Yes, and they seem to be kind of like titans of industry. They're like have, every sort of company you could imagine under like Larrabee Industries kind of thing.
It's very like, here's my estate, here's the study. Come into the study and speak. Just come into the sitting room, fetch my tea.
Although, what I kind of wasn't expecting, because I hadn't read the summary and I've never seen this before, for some reason in my mind, I didn't realize that Audrey Hepburn was going to be like the outsider, that she was going to be like the less wealthy, kind of person on the outskirts of rich society.
Same, because my only experience with the movie Sabrina, that I could remember before seeing this was the cover of the updated film where she's like wearing like a big black brimmed fancy hat and lipstick. So I was like,
is that one?
She must be fancy, whoever this Sabrina is.
That came out in the 90s, right? Not the 80s?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I was surprised too, but I was like, oh, this is interesting,
Yeah.
How they, it's, okay, so on that, now that we know Audrey Hepburn is the outsider and sort of like the one everybody overlooks, and then for the, in favor of the blonde women, literally the only difference.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the first case of she took off her overalls and her ponytail and she's gorgeous.
Matt, I cannot believe you said that, but that is the most accurate depiction of this movie we're going to get to it, but essentially she's like unnoticeable, and then she goes to Paris, and then she comes back, and suddenly everybody's like, oh, actually...
Yeah, I cannot actually wait to talk about the exact moment of the transformation also, because they should have just started playing Kiss Me by Sixpence None the Richer when it happens. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of like the classic tale of like that. She's the, nobody notices me because I have brown hair and a ponytail.
Yeah, she's just the girl next door, and then later on.
Yeah, they didn't even try to put glasses on her or anything in this one. They didn't even try to get away with trying to pretend, like, hide a part of her face to pretend like something changed there.
Well, do you know what's crazy is I feel like in the 1950s, this was 50s, right? Yeah, 54. Mm-hmm. I feel like the way that they interacted with like movie stars at the time, I feel like Audrey Hepburn would never be like, yeah, put me in glasses and make me ugly. I feel like there's just like, there would be an expectation of like, oh, audiences would never want to see Audrey Hepburn with glasses on her face. She's too pretty. Like we could never do that to her,
That's true.
But
she'd be too close to ordinary.
Yes. What I will say is they did give her a raging case of Alyssa Milano season 5 charmed bangs in this movie because they are about 3 centimeters long.
It almost justified Meredith Marks's clip and bangs. Almost.
Yeah, almost.
I was like, maybe this is the moment of the bangs that she was going for.
Maybe.
But yeah, we hear from her that she's the chauffeur's daughter. The chauffeur's name is Fairchild. Her name is Sabrina, like you said. And from this part of the movie, here is my characterization of her. She's a woodland creature that lives outside.
Who likes to sort of talk, and she's kind of the also original Manic Pixie Dream Girl.
Oh, you're right. She is absolutely that. She's absolutely that. Oh my God, Zooey Deschanel. This was her guidebook.
Yeah, because she's kind of like wild and flighty and sort of speaks in like idioms like, well, 2 for a penny in for a pound, Mr. Larrabee. Like
2 in the hand. Yes, she's very like, she literally is climbing trees in like these precious little dresses with her precious little bangs, doing quirky voices, not speaking when spoken to for no reason and just making a face.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
She's kind of the original Manic Pixie Dream Girl.
Yeah, interesting, yeah.
All right, well, her dresses are great. She looks great.
Oh, the fashion in this is great. I have to say that.
100%. Really good looks. She is spying on this party and staring at David Larrabee, who is this man that she's in love with, who she's basically grown up next door to.
Mm-hmm. That's William Holden's character.
Yes.
The younger brother.
And we're also introduced to the rest of the Larrabees, which includes Linus Larrabee, his older brother, who is played by Humphrey Bogart. Mm-hmm. And essentially it kind of like boils down to she is jealous that she's not part of this world, and is jealous especially of the girl that David is dancing with because she is in love with him.
Yes, and they seem to be in love with each other, and Audrey Hepburn's Sabrina mentions that she hates girls who giggle all the time, but wow, they gave this character that David's in love with, I think her name is Elizabeth, one note, and it's just literally giggle at all times.
Nonstop. She had been attacked by the Joker from Batman. That was the level of nonstop giggling that she had going on. It was
so accurate.
Out of control.
It's like Navi from Legend of Zelda with the hay.
Yes.
But all the time it's just a giggle. Every time you encounter her, it's
And nobody said anything funny. She's just still giggling.
She's like a Pokemon. Like, it's just her sound she makes.
Oy. Yeah, that was a choice. Okay. So she's spying on this party. Her father tells her, like, come back to bed. Don't spy on the party, you little creep. And she's like, you go ahead, father. And this is where he tells her, like, don't forget you're leaving for Paris tomorrow to go to cooking school. It's going to be great for you, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But she, instead of, following orders and going back to bed, she continues to spy on David, and she sees him, like, take this girl to the, like, tennis courts to, like, I presume, get it on.
Yeah. And she watches the whole thing, by the way, which is important for later for me.
Yes.
She watches him play by play do the thing. He whispers in her ear, she giggles away and floats out of the room because in the 50s, the view of what women do is they literally just giggle. So he sends her to giggle out in the tennis room, and then he sneaks in, he grabs a bottle of champagne from somebody, he grabs 2 glasses, sticks them in his pocket, sneaks away, exact like the whole format.
Matt, when I was making my notes, I said he sticks champagne glasses in his pockets, which seems like a really good way to end up with a punctured ass cheek.
Exactly. And I was like, why is he sticking any of this in his pockets as though it's some sort of secret?
Right.
He's walking out there with a champagne bottle.
Right.
Why are the glasses a secret?
Mystery.
He was bringing the champagne bottle to what? Killer?
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, oh, no problem. Just don't drink it. Anyway, so she follows him to watch because she's a voyeur.
Yeah, so they're like about to start banging, and she is still looking in the window at them. But eventually, when he starts getting close to her and like probably kissing her, she cries and runs away and goes back home.
Yes, and she's like, it was nobody. I'm nobody.
Oh, yeah.
It's very... There's no explanation as to why she's so interested in David, by the way.
No, it's just dropped in there like it's a pre-existing thing, but there's no justification for it. By all accounts, he has never looked at her.
Exactly. It doesn't even seem like they've really met. And also, like, everyone seems to know about it besides the Larrabees, like, and her dad. Well, even her dad. Everybody seems to know she's, like, got this thing for David.
Yeah.
And they're all, like, interested in it. It's very strange.
Yeah, so dad tells her not to reach for the moon child because she's kind of aiming above her station in life, and, like, you're going to go to cooking school and it's going to be great. Which, by the way, somebody being like, oh, I'm sending you to the best cooking school in Paris. Score.
Yeah, pretty good. I mean,
awesome.
And she's like, no, I don't want to go to cooking school in Paris. I want to hang out here and stare at someone from a tree.
Right.
What in the world?
Is so melodramatic in these scenes because she, I send them to you periodically because I talk about you being overdramatic where like, it's a clip of like a Bollywood movie and somebody like slaps them and they like roll around and then the curtain starts strangling them. It's almost that level of melodrama.
Beyond, it's very like after school special in the 80s and 90s. Nobody understands me.
No. To the point where she starts writing a letter that we see, and it says, it's to her father, and it says, I don't want to go to Paris. I want to die. Please forgive me for what I'm about to do. Goodbye. This, again, and I also, I mean, the 90s might not be much better, but I really don't think they would do this today, because to have it just be like, oh, I'm so heartbroken, I'm actually going to attempt suicide is pretty dark.
Right, and also for literally a non-interaction. There was no catalyst. She's just having an emotion about something.
Yes.
And going to that level right then and there. I think that would not be something they would put in a movie now. And in the letter, she also writes, P.S. Don't have David at the funeral. He probably wouldn't even cry.
Oh, yes, yes.
Let's talk about them. If we're going to talk about the drama. Come on. I was like, what planet am I on? And then she goes and slips it under her father's door, by the way. Spoiler alert, it doesn't matter. She has to go to Paris anyway later. But by the way, we never speak of this letter again.
No.
Ever.
Right. So how did she get it back?
She didn't. He just read it and was like, letter. What?
Yeah, because, by the way, she does go into the big garage full of, like, 15 cars and starts all the engines and closes all the doors and windows. And
a very quiet way to take care of this.
Yeah.
The garage is under her dad's room, and his room is shaking. So I guess this is their versions of the comedy.
Right, yeah, I did think that too, where I was like, okay, I guess they're trying to make this really dark moment less dark by kind of like making it look like there's an earthquake in his room above
Yeah,
it.
and there was a part where she's like talking to one of the cars that's like being loud, and it starts like blowing out smoke rings
Yes.
instead of actual smoke. So I guess they're trying to make this funny.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, this is
So
the scene to
it's just
start the comedy.
exactly,
This is it.
exactly.
Interesting. So yeah, so she's coughing at the fumes. She does open a window at least, and stares at the moon out the window because she just watched David go on another date with presumably another girl, like she's been watching him do for however many years. And then Linus finds her, the older brother, under the. She tries to hide, quote unquote, inside the. This is very manic pixie dream girl. She's trying to hide inside of the garage.
Yes.
There's a million places she could hide, actually, and a very, like, I could totally see a way she could get out of here and not be found. But instead, she, like, hides behind, like, a glass window, and is like, I hope he doesn't find me, in her head, I'm sure. And then when he sees her clearly, she hides underneath the car, and he just, like, looks under the car, and she's staring right at him, like a raccoon in night vision.
And he is so Humphrey Bogart is the one who found her. And I realized at this moment, I'm like, oh, okay, so he's going to be her love interest in this movie. And I was looking at them and I was like, is he like 40 years older than her? And then I Googled.
Yeah, go ahead.
And he is 30 years older than her.
Yeah, I saw it. It was like, yeah, it was just about that. I was like, okay, because I thought that was interesting too. And even William Holden, she was in her 20s. William Holden was in his 30s, and he was in his 50s.
Yeah, I did find out later, there's not a lot of trivia about this movie, so I apologize that I'm going to mention one of them right now. But apparently one of the things is that Cary Grant was supposed to be the star, and he dropped out, and they went with Humphrey Bogart. And I think Cary Grant's like maybe 10 years younger than Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah. A lot of the trivia I read about this movie had to do with Humphrey Bogart just not liking
oh yeah,
just not
he hated
liking
her.
Audrey Hepburn, having a lot of negative things to say about her. He wanted his like girlfriend or wife at the time to play the part, and when asked about how it was playing opposite her, he said it's good if you like taking multiple takes on everything.
Yes.
Nice. Must have been a really fun set.
Yeah. Okay, so he saves her. He calls, oh, this is, how you should treat somebody who has just attempted suicide. He refers to her as idiotic.
Yes.
And carries her home. And she kind of mentions that she saw David and Gretchen in the tennis court. And he's like, what are they doing there? And she almost is like, I assume getting dick down. But then for some reason this like failed attempt just like makes her willing to go to Paris. So she ends up in Paris, and we see like scenes of her like learning to crack an egg.
I liked those scenes in Paris of her in the cooking class with the overbearing cook.
Yeah, sure.
That was
Those
fun.
were
That felt
fine.
like
Yeah.
I thought at this point of the movie there's gonna be a drastic shift. She's going to be in Paris. This is a whole new thing. It's going to be the fish out of water kind of story.
Right.
But then she's going to kind of come to realize she doesn't need a man.
Right.
In the 50s version, I didn't think they were going to go that far. But that she kind of like found her sense of self there, grew into her whole self or whatever they want us to call it, and then came home and made her own decision on purpose. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, that would have been the better storyline.
Kind of what I thought we were going for here. Because they go all into the scene with the cracking of the egg and the woman of color, and she's terrible at it. She's unenthused. She has no emotion, no spark. And can we talk about that? Because I don't know if that was her characterization, but I felt like that's how she was through most of the movie until her quote unquote transformation.
Right. She's very stoic a lot of the time. She goes from stoic pre-Paris, and then post-Paris she becomes much more of the like dream girl of like I'm so worldly and wise, and the way I'm going to talk to all of you is going to be sort of like I see things that you don't see kind of vibes. And she basically goes from like stoic to sort of like not condescending but like bordering on condescending of like, oh, you silly people, like you just don't know the world I do the way I do kind of vibe.
Yes.
So.
And 100%. But yeah, so she's doing this. She writes home. She hates it. She says cooking sauces almost killed her. And oh right, the whole staff. at the estate is reading her letters like it's Downton Abbey.
Yes, I will say I liked this scene. I thought this was funny.
Oh yeah, I like the scenes with the staff where they're like, "That's good, that's bad, that's good, that's bad."
Yes.
When she like names something, she's like, "I don't think it's David at all," and they're like, "That's good," and she's like, "Except at night," and they're like, "That's bad."
That's bad. Yeah, and like I ripped up David's letter, and that's good. So please send me some Scotch tape by mail.
Yes,
that's bad.
That's bad. I liked that, but I have to ask, why is that one woman so obsessed with David and her relationship?
Oh, the like little old lady cook.
Every 5 seconds, like someone will be like, "Oh, Sabrina wrote us," and she's like, "Did she say anything about David?" And they'll be like, "We haven't opened the damn letter."
Yeah, I assume she's just extremely nosy and or overprotective of Sabrina.
Yeah, because let me tell you, the 50s have a few characteristics for women. They're busybodies that are in everybody's business.
Yep.
They are lesbian coded, or they giggle and laugh and are completely influenced by men.
Yes.
Under no circumstances does any level of wit or any other character virtue you see throughout the rest of the film, it is all completely washed away in the presence of a man.
Yeah. Oh,
anyhow,
damn. I knew I had a different quote to start this movie with. And I forgot what it was. So we cut back to Sabrina in Paris. And this time they're learning soufflés. Mm-hmm. And the chef is going down the line and being like, or telling them how a soufflé must be cooked. And he says, the soufflé, it must be gay. Gay!
I'm so glad you said that because my note, I couldn't remember what it was. I just wrote, winter soufflé lesson, gay. Which made sense to me. I mean, a winter souffle lesson is pretty gay.
Yeah. So Sabrina's souffle is much too low, but she meets a man in class who's like apparently a baron who just took a souffle baking course for fun. And he tells her that he recognizes that her mind must be elsewhere and she's in love and unhappy in love. And she's like, yes. And
he gives her, the most important piece of advice of the whole film.
What's that?
This is when this is the whole point of the movie. I mean, really, this man has changed everything because she's unhappy in love, as he says. And he tells her, "Stop looking like a horse." And she looks at him, not shocked, like, how could you say that? Like, oh, I must look like a horse? And then she realizes it's her ponytail. And then we get this look of glee on her face, like, ooh, idea.
Do you know, somehow that whole thing flew right over my head.
Oh, this was the moment. I was like, oh my God, kiss me under the
Oh, God.
She literally has a ponytail through the whole movie until this moment when he tells her to stop looking like a horse, and ding. By the way, it's not lost upon me that while she's going to Paris to learn how to cook so that she can come home and cook for her family, not so she can have a chef career, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Correct.
She's learning French cuisine so she doesn't get bored in the house.
Yes.
Anyway.
So we get a little scene of like David and Linus Larrabee where Linus is talking to him about plastics, and like Larrabee Industries is going to be merging with this big plastics corporation. And essentially he's basically telling David that he's going to marry that Gretchen woman, I think.
Elizabeth.
Because she's the daughter of the plastics empire. And so this is their way of kind of like cementing the business.
Mm-hmm. And it would be David's fourth marriage.
Yes. For some reason, we also get some weird slapstick where he sends a button, presses a button and says, "Send in all the secretaries." And they all stand on this big sheet of plastic and bounce up and down on it like a trampoline.
Yes, they all bounce on the big sheet of plastic, all these like buttoned up 50s style, like Mad Men.
I was just going to say, the whole like business side of this movie does feel very like Mad Men-esque, where it's just like businessmen doing whatever they want and truly ruling the world.
Oh, 100%. And there's a bunch of little ladies in little shoulder pads and long skirts clicking away, being abused by the men. And then even in the room, they put one woman at the table just to do it, I guess. And they still say, "Gentlemen."
Yeah, I noticed that too. I was like, are they going to say like and lady or anything? Nope. She's just not an actual person in the room.
No. Because she's probably over the age where they view her as human anymore.
Correct. Yes. She's beyond marriageable age, so she's no longer a person.
Exactly. Someone thought she was just a coat on the chair.
Mm-hmm. So Sabrina finishes her cooking school and sends her dad a letter saying, you can pick me up at the train station on this day and time.
Okay. One thing about that letter. She says, I love you, Dad. I've had the most wonderful year. Really?
Yes.
She spent the entire year thinking about David and trying to get rid of him from her mind and moping about how she hated sauces were going to kill her and how she's failing out of school. But she's had the most wonderful year.
Well, Matt, you forget. She cut off her ponytail.
That's right. Everything's changed.
Everything's changed now.
It was all worth it.
So she does arrive at the train station. She looks she looks beautiful through this whole movie. She's a stunning woman, and the fashion on her is amazing.
Yeah, I do, and I love the setting, like the sets. I love old Hollywood sets.
Yes.
Like the Paris, how they did like the Eiffel Tower out the window and the big sweeping window and the writing desk. All those like little old-timey details of like how houses were set up and things like that. I don't know. I love that kind of stuff. That stuff was the only redeeming factor.
Yeah,
and
that's kind of like the fun movie magic stuff.
Yeah.
For some reason, her father doesn't pick her up, but David sees a hot chick by the road and, of course, immediately pulls up and is like, let me take you where you're going.
Yes.
And
what's her change now? What does she look like now? How would you describe her?
I would describe her as a very Parisian. She's got, sort of a very fitted, sort of almost pencil skirty type thing and like a beret and a cigarette practically and a little tiny dog.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And she has a little tiny poodle, which we never have seen before. Named David, of course.
Its name is David, yes, which is
psychotic.
Uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah. Uncomfortable. That's what I meant.
If I found out that somebody had a crush on me for years and that they had named their dog after me, I'd be like, cool. So we will never be speaking again.
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, this car ride is coming to an end now.
Now, yeah. Ooh, it looks like I ran out of gas, actually, and you're going to have to walk back to the train station now. Sorry.
Bye-bye. Yikes. But yeah, he doesn't even recognize her. She looks exactly the same. It is
exactly the same.
Been a year. She has not aged a year.
No, but she's chic and worldly, and also he's never given her the time of day before because he's been focused on women in his own elite circle, and he keeps trying to make. He's like, she's so hot and glamorous. She clearly must be of the upper crust. And so he keeps being, she's like, oh, my father, he works in transportation. He's like, oh, he must own Chrysler or Ford or something. And she's like, no. And so this whole time I love, she says, how are you? And he says, how are you? And might I add, who are you? Because she's like, we know each other. And so he keeps, guessing that she's part of his world.
Mm-hmm. Part of his world. I did like that scene. That was like kind of a fun... This is more the characterization I was expecting from Audrey Hepburn.
So here's my thing. I agree. I do think this was fun. And I think that from this point on, I think if he was trying to pursue her and she instead was like, I don't need a man and I'm this accomplished chef, and kind of doesn't give him the time of day from this point on, I'd be like, great, I'm on board. But instead, it's just her realizing she has more worldliness and can kind of manipulate him into liking her.
Yes, it becomes this whole thing like, oh, the lesson she learned at this point is, oh, the reason I was unhappy was because I couldn't have David, but I deserved it because I wasn't ready yet, because I was of a different status than him. So I had to level myself up enough so that he could even look at me.
Yeah.
And now I've done it. I've done the thing I needed to do. Good for me. Mission accomplished. Now I can pursue this. Like, there's no... The idea of him only liking her now and only having interest in her now, literally because of her looking a certain way, isn't lost on her. It's... She's thrilled by it.
Right. And that's what bothers me so much.
Me
like,
too.
Girl, you're clearly better than him on so many levels. Like, let him go and you do you and like focus. That's the other thing, like, not to like shit on everything about this movie, but her character does not have, her character would fail the Bechdel test immediately. Like, there's just, she is a very one-dimensional character. All she wants is love. That's it.
And all she wants is love with a specific type of man.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's singularly focused. The men in this movie are allowed to philander, to date, to be promiscuous, and the women in the movie are shit on the whole time. I mean, this is just the whole thing that I was saying at the beginning is like, you watch movies like this and then you're like, okay, obviously, well, hopefully you watch them and you're like, wow, the messages in this movie for women and men are terrible. And you could see like that these were made by design to really instill terrible gender norms that are the worst thing that's ever happened to this country. But it's like, yes, that's all dangerous, but people will still be like, oh, Sabrina, oh, all these movies, like, oh, it's so romantic. Look at the message.
Yeah, totally.
So the message is you have no sense of self, and it's so insulting to women, and it gives nothing to aspire to.
Exactly.
You know, people still have photos of Audrey Hepburn, and she's this classic beauty, and women will put her up in when they're in high school, like her and Marilyn Monroe, without having seen a movie she's in. And then you read the facts about this movie and you find out that she was paid like nothing, like pennies to what other people were paid. She had I read, and I don't know if this is true, that they wanted her to pay for her own wardrobe.
Correct.
And that's what was the most iconic thing about the movie.
Yeah.
She was 20-something.
Yep.
That's insanity. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's like the behind-the-scenes things of these movies when we put a picture of her up from this movie and say, icon. It's like, she might have been an icon, but do you know why?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just it was really frustrating for me watching this movie with watching her quote unquote transformation on. It was really annoying. She was just delighted by being treated so poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So father tells her like, you know, he's engaged, whatever, and
by the way,
she's
yes,
like,
he's engaged while he's, like, pursuing her. In front of everybody, he's engaged.
And father says, like, you don't care? And she says, he's not married yet. All right, girl.
Not married yet. Because that's how women are.
Yes.
And
then
unbelievable.
That's when we get the quote where he says, you're still reaching for the moon. And she says, no, father, the moon's reaching for me.
What is this?
I will say,
is she a Batman villain?
I liked that line, actually.
It's pretty, but look at what she's talking about.
I know.
Literally like, oh, I know, but look at what I'm going to do to make sure that he leaves her.
Yes, exactly.
Weird.
David invites her to like a ball, and she shows in a beautiful gown. She shows up in a beautiful gown.
A ball that he's going to with his fiance as his date.
Fiance, yes. And he keeps kind of like being like, go get us a drink, will you? Or like, you need to powder your nose to like get her away so that he can be with Sabrina, which is gross.
There's literally a part where he makes her spill something on her dress so she can like get out of here. And David, not David from the movie, but David, my partner, was like, is this like the Disney Channel Nickelodeon School of Acting?
In some ways it felt that way.
Yes. Here, go pick that up over there.
I like when they're dancing and he says, where have you been all my life? And she says, right over the garage. I just, for some reason, that line really tickled me. Because, you know, like, usually it's that sort of question is replied to with like a dreamy, like, oh, I've just been waiting my whole life or whatever. But just like right over the garage. It cracked me up.
It cracked me up too, because it felt like something you would hear a Naked Gun.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
You know, like that kind of like deadpan humor. But it wasn't.
Yes. Okay, we will say the Larrabee parents are not pleased to find out that Sabrina is at their party, but they definitely think, much like her father, that she is reaching above her station. Mm-hmm. And so the mom says like passive aggressive things like, oh, well, you must come over and cook for us sometime then, and things like that to like imply like, oh, don't forget, we employ you. You're not one of us.
Exactly.
But she does not seem even a little bit perturbed by that.
No, because she thinks, correct. That's absolutely right. That's my role.
Yuck.
Why would she be? But then we see this whole thing where, this is so weird. This is so weird to me. He's like, there's no problem with him being engaged to this woman and him actively pursuing this other woman with this whole family there. Their only concern is this might mess up the merger.
Yes.
There's no like, hey, what are you doing?
Let's talk about the quality of your character. It's none of that. It's this might mess up the plastics merger.
Like, it doesn't even pop into their head. And then we see him be like, oh, whatever. I'm gonna go after her anyway. And the plan is they send Linus out to dance with his fiancée Elizabeth instead.
Well, okay, hang on. A couple things happen in between. So number one is, Linus spots David putting the champagne glasses in his pants again.
Oh, right.
And so while David and his dad are arguing, Linus is like, have a seat. And David forgets the glasses are in there. And so sure enough,
Ouch.
He shatters the glass in his pants.
Yes, that was kind of funny, actually.
Was kind of funny.
And also, thank you for mentioning this. Wait, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, and so then Linus goes in his stead to meet Sabrina and kind of, it almost kind of like steal her away from David so that David doesn't mess up the merger.
It's very strange because first of all, this is the part I almost forgot to mention. Like I said at the beginning of the movie, Sabrina watched him do this whole exact shtick,
Yes.
play-by-play, and she sees he's sending her out to the tennis place, and he's like, why don't we go meet? And she's like, in the tennis room? And he's like, oh,
Yeah.
You've been watching me, huh? Which implies that when he did it in the movie, it was after many, many times doing this with other women.
Right.
It's like his thing. She now knows he's pulling, and he's admitted it. He's pulling the same thing he's done with every other woman that he's been with and tossed aside, including the women he's divorced. He's doing it with her in no different way. And she's like, yes. What? What planet is this? And then also the plan is, first they send Linus out to dance with Elizabeth so he can literally, this is the whole plan, and it works. Because this is what they think of women. All Linus has to do to distract Elizabeth when she comes out and says, where is my fiancé? Is say, hey, dance with me. And he just turns her the other direction and dances with her so she's not facing David right behind her, sneaking out to cheat on her. Number one.
Right.
Then he ditches her and she's like, oh, I guess I'll just stand here because I'm just a woman who giggles. And then the plan is for Linus to like move in on and be like flirtatious with Sabrina to gain her trust so that she doesn't suspect that the family thinks that she's a gold digger.
In possibly the grossest way, where when he goes to talk to her, he says, here's a kiss from David, and kisses her.
Oh, yeah. And says it's all in the family.
So foul, so gross. But she seems kind of flustered, so it's sort of like the first indication of she's like, oh, maybe I've been overlooking Linus my whole life, even though he is 30 years older than you, girl, but okay.
And is showing his level of showing interest in her is very like reading off a script. There's no passion or anything. They speak in riddles to each other.
Totally. They do not have an ounce of chemistry in this movie, and you can see all the behind the scenes drama showing up on the screen.
Oh yeah, you could see he barely looks at her when he's trying to be like interested in her. He barely looks at her, and she seems like not interested in him at all, like actively.
Yeah.
Like he'll go for her and she'll be like, she'll try to do like the eyes to die thing and say something like that's half true to say that she's still interested in the brother.
Yes.
It's weird. And she seems weirded out when he's like, this is all in the family.
Yeah.
Because it is weird. And then they continue to do it. They show a scene of a couple of slapsticky scenes with the brother with this like ass in the air getting a fan blown on it or whatever nonsense. That's how they keep him busy through the whole movie. His ass is
recovering. Yes.
Glass.
Meanwhile, Linus is moving in on his girl. And
they're fine with it. He's like, thanks, bro.
Right.
Keep her busy.
Keep her busy.
Keep her revved up for me.
So there's a couple like little short scenes that don't matter where like Linus and Sabrina go on like little sailing dates, and we see the chauffeur dad being like, I'm not comfortable like driving her to dates with you. Like I think she's reaching above her station, and we must remember our places.
Yeah.
And then we find out that Linus, his grand plan is to send her back to Paris and convince her that he's coming with her to Paris. Mm-hmm. So this is the lie he's told her. And then kind of, in the concluding scenes of the movie, she like shows up at his office and is, he tells her he's going to Paris and he's like, I want you to come with me. Although it's so gross because he asks her how to say some things in French, and he asks, how do you say, my brother had a lovely girl? And she tells him, and then he asks, how do you say, I wish I were my brother? So it's like, him saying he's attracted to her, but in probably the most vomit in my mouth sort of way that you could.
Oh my God. What was it? Was it Frankenstein or Nosferatu, the reboot, where the brother was going in, it was Frankenstein, where Frankenstein's going in on his brother's wife, or wife-to-be.
Yes. Yeah,
and it's so uncomfortable there, and here it's so uncomfortable, but it's like just happening unchecked. Just like,
yeah.
And it's so weird, because in all these, like I said, I agree with you, pointless scenes of him like flummoxing to try to date her and her just staring at him. No chemistry. Lots of long scenes that are very, very, very long. He continuously like tries to woo her with words, and she continuously like rebukes them. She
Yes.
She rejects everyone. They don't show any indication throughout all of these scenes where they're trying to build some sort of chemistry between them. Because these are all meant to show, like, now she's confused. Now she's like, wait, maybe I haven't seen Linus fairly. Maybe he's the one for me, quote unquote. But they don't show any development throughout that. Like, everything he does to do something for her, she's like, well, I wish David was here still. Well, you could tell David he could be here. Oh, that sounds so great for David. You know what I mean? It's like... And she's, while he's trying to convince her to go to Paris with him and that whole thing, every time he's, like, laying the groundwork and talking about how great Paris is for them and how much she loved it and how he wants to go there, she's like, you should, by yourself.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. You would love it. I will give you advice. Go. David and I would love if you went to Paris, and I think you'd find yourself there. So by the time they do this, like, scene and when she meets him in his apartment, even when she goes there, you know it's his, like, last ditch to try to, like, get her to finally, like, go for him.
Yeah.
And do the whole Paris thing. He's got the tickets and stuff. Even when she gets there, she's still like, I'm not gonna stay. She stands at the door uncomfortably, like you do when you're, like, at someone's house that you don't know and no one's there yet. It's like, do I come in all the way? He makes her cook something out of what's in the closet, and she's going to cook him a cracker souffle, which, by the way, I could vomit. And then she's cooking for him. There's no chemistry here. And then randomly, she's like, you know what? Now I'm confused. Now I don't know what to do, one way or the other. I don't know who I love anymore, because all it takes to convince a woman differently is to just take her on a boat and promise her Paris, and, your family was right about me suddenly, even though I've shown no indication of caring about that kind of thing. But now she's like, I guess he has a change of heart. He feels bad because he sees that, like, he is a monster. Right. Manipulating someone and playing with her life with no regard for her at all. And I guess he confesses to her and says, like, I wasn't going to go with you. She does this whole long thing, like, tell me it's true. Tell me it's so cruel. She's like holding out this whole time and finally says, okay, I guess I do have feelings for you. I've been wondering about it. I'm not sure. Tell me I'm not crazy. Tell me I'm not crazy for saying it. And I'm not making a total fool of myself. And he's like, yeah, you're crazy. I lied about everything, and I was going to send you to Paris by yourself, and you'd be in a room by yourself, and I would be here, and David would be getting married to Elizabeth, and you'd be eating chocolate with flowers in your room. And she looks so heartbroken.
Yeah. And then
you'd think, okay, wow, this is going to be a total change now.
No.
Surely, at this point, this is going to be the thing. But instead... anyway.
She gets on the boat.
She gets on the friggin' boat. They do this whole big stupid thing where we see the brothers confront each other and punch each other out because they suspect the other person likes Sabrina. So they fight over her, kind of, but it's in a way of like, boys will be boys. We punch each other and then we make up and we don't have emotions, and that's why we're not dramatic.
Right.
And at the end of the day, like, David is like, okay, I'm actually going to stay with Elizabeth. There's no indication of why, by the way. He just sees... I guess, in Linus, that Linus likes her, and is like, he could have her. I didn't really care that much in the first place anyway. She likes him better. And he says, I'll stay with Elizabeth. I was only mad at you to test you, to see if you really liked her. Now that you did, don't worry. We bought you a boat, literally, to go catch her on the boat. And she's on the boat leaving after she's been heartbroken. She kind of like walks away like, you know what, fine. I feel like a fool, but I'll take the money and leave. And it kind of seems like maybe she'll have a chance to start a new life and look back at this experience and grow. But instead, he shows up on the boat, and she's, like, delighted by it.
Yeah.
Delighted. That's the end of the movie. She's with a 20-something-year-old older than her man who showed no interest in her other than to scheme her, manipulate her, did it successfully, and then she's like, that's the guy I'm going to be with.
Matt, I couldn't disagree with you more because she's with a 30-year older man.
Oh, you're right. Thank you. You're right. Thank you. Totally right. And that's the end of the effing movie with romantic music playing throughout it. Olivia and Rose. How gorgeous.
So, as we said, Humphrey Bogart was the last-minute replacement for Cary Grant. Okay, this is random. Supposedly, Cary Grant rejected the part because he didn't want to have to carry an umbrella on screen.
I did see that. I was wondering why, and I don't know why it had to be so important to the plot, because it really was just kind of like a cute little thing that was a visual thing more than anything else.
Yeah.
That's what kept them from keeping Cary Grant? Throw the umbrella.
Honestly. So again, Matt mentioned the pay. Bogart got $300,000, Holden got $150,000, and Audrey Hepburn got $15,000.
Unreal. I just think people should remember this type of stuff when they're like, Audrey Hepburn in classic MGM Paramount Cinema.
Yeah, the environment was garbage. But Audrey Hepburn and William Holden did fall in love while making this film, but she ended up breaking off the relationship because Holden could not have children, and that was something she really wanted.
Well, they were at least more appropriate for each other age-wise.
Yes, yeah.
Although he did look a lot older than her, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, he still did, for sure.
Even though he was only, I think, like 10 or 11 years. I mean, I was like, okay, because me and Davey are like 8 or 9 years apart. And I look like fresh as a daisy.
I was just going to say, and it shows.
I'm rude. I also read that I'm bad at, like, designer names, but I did read that, like, is it Givenchy? Givenchy?
Mm-hmm, Givenchy, yeah.
Thank you. Was, like, made famous in, like, the more, what's the word I'm looking for? Secular world, because of this film, because they completely designed most of Audrey Hepburn's wardrobe that she had to pay for.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I think, if I'm not mistaken, I read developed like a relationship between her and the designer for future films and spreads and things like that. So that's kind of cool that happened out of this.
Yeah,
because I think I read it wasn't originally going to be. They didn't know who was going to design her wardrobe. So there's that at least.
Yeah.
Ratings, you ready?
Ratings. Yep.
We got IMDb 7.6.
Okay.
Just letting that land. The tomato meter is 89%, and the audience popcorn meter is 89% also.
I feel like people must have watched a different movie from us.
I didn't read reviews. I have a feeling, because I've seen this theme on some of our other reviews I've read from shocking results like this to me. There's just not a lot of people who care about women and the messages about women in these movies.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem to land. It's just completely ignored. It's kind of just excused away as a product of its time, which to some degree I understand. We're looking at a piece of media from this time, but sometimes it's pretty egregious. I mean, you can't just say like, oh, it's okay. Pat the guy in the back. He would have done better if he could have. I don't think he would have.
Yeah, so. I agree.
But what about you? What are you rating it?
I think I'm going to give it a 4. I was going to say 5 just to be generous, but then I was like, I don't think it deserves that.
Yeah, I think I'll be with you. I think I'm going to go with 4. I was going to go a little lower, honestly, but you inspired me to go a little higher and be fair. Because, to be fair, the old movie quality of it was great. I liked it.
Agreed.
It had all the music. I love American songbook type music. I just do. Like,
yeah.
Isn't it romantic? I just love that song. And, I like that kind of stuff. I grew up watching Nick at Night, okay? So there was that. And I'm sure, the acting wasn't terrible for the time of it was, but I don't think Audrey Hepburn did particularly well. I think the guys were believable as douchey guys.
Yeah.
So,
they
4.
Were. Would you call this a beauty or a beast?
Honestly, I'm going to say it's a beast.
I think I am too, and I think people might be mad.
I agree, but I'm sorry. I mean, no disrespect to the people in it. It's. I don't blame Audrey Hepburn for any of this. I don't think there's any other role available for women at this time, but
no,
it's just a shame to have to see it play out.
Gosh, and I mean, what would if we're keeping the plot roughly the same? I'm trying to think like what I would change about it to make it decent, but I feel like. Yeah. The only thing that would save it for me is if she came back from Paris and her motivation was to like start her own business or whatever. And David realized he had been overlooking her all these years and like actively pursued her. And she spends a lot of the movie turning him down. And like maybe eventually is like, okay, like I do really like you and you've proven that you're a good quality man.
Mm-hmm.
If those things happened, but I mean, she's still going to end up with Humphrey Bogart or his character. So I just don't know how they can write that in a way that won't still feel really gross and manipulative.
Okay. I have a theory of how they could fix this.
Okay.
It could be bunnies. No. I have a theory. It could be, if they keep the same sort of plot, but if they and by that I mean Sabrina is interested in David, goes away, comes back, and ultimately ends up with Linus despite dating David first. I think that could work if they do a little bit of like a play on here's what they have to do. They have to insert believable precursors to Linus and her relationship in the past.
Yeah.
Like moments where she was overlooking him, quote unquote, in the same way that David overlooks her. Like Linus was the brother she overlooked, but secretly there was all this evidence that he and her were very compatible, but he was just as shy and in a box as she was in his own way that he doesn't realize. And then she goes away, she comes back, she thinks she wants the original thing, realizes there's no substance there, and then through the parents meddling, trying to get Linus to distract Sabrina, simply distract her, he realizes at the same time as she does that, like, you know, there was always something there and that's where the real thing is. And then she realizes, oh wait, in the same way I had been completely overlooked by David the whole time, I was also not seeing what I really wanted either. You know, they could do that.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't that work?
Yeah.
I think that could be very cute. But they would have to make Harrison Ford like a lovable idiot, and we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm excited though. I'm excited to see how it can only get better, I think. But it was the 90s. We'll find out.
Yeah. Well, listeners, if you enjoyed listening to this and would like to show your gratitude, we would love it if you could go and write us a review and subscribe to our podcast on whatever platform you are using to listen to this episode.
That's right. And the next best thing you could be doing to help our podcast grow is to tell a friend about us, because word of mouth is what really gets our podcast out there. So post about us on Reddit, post about us on whatever little message board you're a part of. I don't know message boards. Are those still a thing?
Maybe. Our social media is RebootyPod on Instagram, and you can email us at rebootypod@gmail.com. We love getting emails, so send us a note and say hi.
Yes, and if you just simply can't get enough of us, you can check us out on Patreon. It's patreon.com/NandMatt. We have a bunch of episodes back there in our catalog of us playing games and doing a bunch of different things, but you'll find mostly movie reviews there. So if you like this, you'll certainly love us there.
Yeah, and thanks for listening to Rebooty and the Beast.
We'll see you next week for the reboot.
Goodbye.
Bye.